What if Stolas is actually a villain? This video kind of continues my mini-series which I dedicated to dissecting helluvaboss, one of my favorite shows of recent years, from a writing perspective, and looking at characters and their relationships through the lens of female characters, while also trying to find a way to improve the overall story. In the previous video, I tried to look at the relationship between Loona and Blitz from Loona's perspective, since the whole show is mostly from the point of view of its main protagonist, Blitz. Now let's take a look at the Goetia family. I admit working on this particular script was a bit harder than working on my video about Blitz and Loona, since Stolas, frankly speaking, is a vastly more sympathetic character than Blitz. Yes, we do sympathize with Blitz's struggle with loneliness and search for someone who can understand and accept him. However, at the same time, we do see that Blitz himself pushes a lot of people away because of his chronic inability to actually genuinely express his emotions and his feelings. Not to mention that Blitz started an assassin business, which isn't exactly the most ethical unambiguous endeavor one can think of. And Stolas, on the other hand, definitely looks like a victim, and admittedly, I was firmly on his side while watching the show. Naturally, I do not think of him as a villain of the story, but Stolas is certainly not as innocent as the writers want us to believe. The fact that Stella is still grossly unexplored after so many episodes of endless relationship drama is, I shall say, excessively baffling. She's as one-dimensional as a character possibly gets. I complained a lot about Millie and Loona, but they do have different hues and shades of their characters, which makes us look at them from different perspectives. Especially Loona, who can be mean, cruel, and extremely compassionate at the same time. But Stella is just insufferable. When you attempt to create a relatable and somewhat believable family drama, it is very important to make us at least understand each character, even if one of the characters is obviously supposed to be a villain. For example, you might not sympathize with Hannibal Lecter.
The late great Hannibal Lecter.
He is a murderous cannibal after all, but we as readers or viewers at least see and understand how he came to this. This is what I would call good writing and character development. Silence of the Lamb isn't a family drama, but you got the overall point. With families it's even more complicated. It is rarely black and white. It is usually very nuanced, and all sides of the conflict have their own truth and motives. Unless, of course, one member of the family is a real psychopath. Stella might be a psychopath, but we don't know that. But what do we actually know? We are aware that the marriage was fixed by Stolas' father. Both Stella and Stolas didn't really know each other and didn't care for a marriage. Stolas is seeing Blitz while being married. Stolas is neglectful towards Octavia and her feelings. For all we know, he never actually tried to have a serious talk with her about him and Stella. Maybe Stolas could just explain the situation to Octavia, because what Octavia sees every day is her parents having nasty fights, and Stolas constantly either withdraws himself to his library where he doesn't wish to converse with anyone, or sees Blitz instead of trying to fix the broken relationship in the family. Octavia feels like her father neglects her, and this is true. Stolas takes Octavia to a theme park that she used to like as a child, but which she, understandably, completely hates now. From what we can conclude, Stolas barely even spends time with his daughter, before the start of the show at least. He doesn't know what she likes and where she likes going. Even if he doesn't know that, he can actually ask Octavia instead of bringing her to Lululand, thinking she is still a little girl. What is she even doing exactly? She doesn't study, she's got no job since she's gonna inherit her family's wealth, and she doesn't need to do anything to support herself. She spends her days by herself, reflecting on her family struggles all by herself, without anyone's emotional support. First time she had someone to talk to about how she feels was in the second episode of the second season with Loona. What was Stolas doing all these years when Octavia was growing up? She has every single right to be mad at her parent. Stolas has been choosing to have cheap and quick fun with Blitz instead of trying to be a good father. Stolas' relationship with Blitz is also very messed up. As we know, the Goetia family are nobles, and they treat imps as subservient. That's how Blitz feels about his relationship with Stolas. He genuinely believes that Stolas just uses his superior status to use Blitz as a toy for his pleasure. Stolas has been a very passive character. By that I mean that he hasn't been trying to either fix his already existing family with Stella and Octavia or make a new family with Blitz instead. Stolas never seriously treated his relationship with Blitz, even though Blitz has been developing actual feelings towards Stolas. Stolas allowed Imp, or IMP, to use his book to cross between hell and the living world, and in return often made Blitz please him sexually. That's not how a loving and caring person would do. Nonchalantly, Stolas has been disgustingly neglectful towards people who he cared for by not actually showing them that he cares. And who's to say that he didn't neglect Stella the same way, making her feel completely used and useless. This is the kind of character development that Stella needs instead of remaining this one-note villain who orders the assassination of her husband when he decides to finally divorce her. Funny enough, when Stella orders an assassin, it's bad, but when Blitz and his group commit assassinations for money, that's not a big deal. Assassination is only bad when the target is one of the good characters. But as we just inspected, Stolas is hardly some misunderstood romantic hero. His problem is chronic inability to actually make serious moves, even if his life depends on it, and as a result, those around him constantly suffer and he, consumed by his own drama, doesn't even notice that. Thanks for watching my mini analysis of the complicated mess that is the Goetia family. I really enjoy dissecting other people's writing and inserting my point of view as an amateur writer. I don't know what else to say. Subscribe and see you soon, hopefully.